Alright, so I'm going to be doing another class build guide here. We're going to look at the Engineer today. Man, when I first started playing Engineer, I didn't like it. It was probably my least liked class. I just felt like when I was first playing it that it was it's like too busy. Um, like too high maintenance. The turrets, man, I just felt like I was picking them up and dropping them and picking them up and dropping them, and like the build time, and then I was just never getting like I don't know, I wasn't getting like the rhythm right. But I think what happens is, and I don't know, maybe it's me who's different, but as I learned the game, I started seeing how valuable and how awesome the Engineer actually is, and now it's kind of tied for my favorite. I really like Scout, but Engineer is really awesome, super versatile class. So let's just get into it. We'll start with the perks. In a couple videos now, I've talked about deep pockets. I think this is just like the bread and butter, the go-to community staple for pretty much anybody that you play. This isn't going to help you in combat at all, but mining is such a big part of this game. Like everybody mines. It's not just Scout. Like everybody mines. So you only start off with 40 carrying capacity. This plus what you get on the armor, right? That'll bring you up to 60. So I definitely recommend that. Next, I use Born Ready. This is another big one. Another big one in the community. Like everybody likes Born Ready. I think if you have two guns that need to reload and they have like a kind of a moderate to long reload time, this is absolutely a go-to. Wow, this is just so nice. So I can just unload the shotgun on like a swarm or whatever, and then I can switch to the breach cutter. I don't know, maybe like a Praetorian or something big comes out. There's something I gotta like burst down, and in that time, my shotgun's gonna be reloaded, and then I switch back to the shotgun, right? Kill some stuff with that. And while I'm doing that, the breach cutter gets reloaded, so I'm never having to stop and reload, like, ever, 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 and it's perfect. So, Born Ready is really nice. Highly recommend it. Thorns. I think I mentioned this before. People who only play Hazard 5 are going to tell you that Thorns is trash, that you shouldn't be hit at all. And yeah, I got to agree with some of that. It's kind of true. When you're playing a Haz 5, you really don't want to get hit. I mean, I have a video where I'm playing as Engineer, and I absolutely get hit. So it's not that Thorns was ever wasted. But man, if you're playing 3s and 4s, this is crazy good. It's going to be perfect versus the little swarmer guys. They basically just kill themselves when they hit you because of the thorns. It's good for grunts. Maybe you got a bunch that are just so low on health, and maybe you're trying to conserve ammo, and you got the shields and the health, so it's no big deal. So you just let them hit you. Yeah, it's just perfect for finishing off the nasties. I know, like those little jellyfish guys, right, that come at you. Maybe you just don't want to use your ammo, or like they're just flying all over the place, and yeah, you just let them hit you. No big deal. Like Thorns is great. So those are all those. And we'll go into the actives. So, community consensus, and I think I've complained about this, or not complained, but I've talked about this before. Iron Will and Field Medic are probably number 1 and 2 in terms of popularity. Iron Will basically brings you back to life. It's great. It's very good. And as long as you can get your health back while you're in that like 12-second last stand limbo, you can permanently stay alive. So that's perfect. But you can only use it once, and yeah, I mean that's just why I don't use it. I'm not saying that it's not good. It probably is the best one. I've played games where we all wiped, and because someone had this, they were able to res and then res other people, and then after they died, we resed him. So yeah, Iron Will is amazing, and when you're playing with groups a lot of the time, Field Medic is good. I've got a collection of screenshots, some of them double-digit reses, and I never did it with Field Medic. And when you res with somebody else, like you get 2 people resing somebody, it goes faster. So I don't really know why people think this is so darn good. I mean, I guess like the active is like what's really really saucy, right? Like that once per mission you can bring someone back to life. But I don't use these. I think they're great. They're nice, but I use dash. Um, I think it's mainly because of my weapon choice. So not everyone is impressed by the shotgun, and the particular overclock that I use also kind of makes it a little weak, but I'll talk about that in a second. So sometimes I need some dash. Why is dash so good? Dash is so good, one, because it's on a 25-second cooldown. That is incredibly low. Good gracious, is that low. So you can be dashing all the time. Now, what is the run speed and how long do you dash for? I don't know. The speed itself has to be at least double what you're normally running at. Maybe even more. It's very quick. And how long does it last? I don't know, 1 to 3 Mississippis, somewhere in that range. So it's, it doesn't last long, but good gracious, like it will absolutely get you out of a bind. It'll help you get to someone faster, maybe if they've died. Another like cool thing that I like to use it for is maybe you need to run and jump over, like a big hole or something, and because of the speed, it basically gives you like a super jump. Um, Also, what's cool about it is if, I don't know, you get hit by like that green goop, or it's just something that slows you, bam, you can just dash right on out of it. So, this thing has so many uses. Again, man, that 25-second cooldown, this thing is incredible. Normally, I rock hover boots, and I've talked a lot about why I think hover boots is super cool. But in this case, I don't use hover boots because platform gun. Platform gun can break your fall. Platform gun does amazing things. I'll talk about that a little bit later. But yeah, I don't run hover boots because of the platform gun. This next one, heightened senses. Some people don't like this. They don't think it's necessary. They don't think it's required. Yeah, I kind of agree with that. It's not required, but there's going to be a situation or two where you're just not going to be able to catch the grabbers. They're gonna get you. There's just no denying it. Like you're gonna get hit by this. I think it's like the third time I've told this story now. I was playing with somebody. He got grabbed by like one of those ceiling grabbers, and he was like, "Yo, man, when you come in this room, you're gonna get grabbed." And I was just like, "Nah, not me." And I came into the room and I got grabbed, and we both died. So that was the end of the mission. So I've just had heightened senses ever since. It's also good because, let's say you do get grabbed, and I purposely do it. I sometimes purposely let something grab me, because 2 times per mission, you'll kill the monster that grabs you. So if it's a ceiling one, boom, done. He's out. You didn't even have to use any ammo, right? So you're conserving ammo, and you're making sure that that thing's not going to grab anybody else. And if you get grabbed by a ceiling grabber, it's not like you use this and then you just plummet to your death. Like you will actually fall like at a nice pace back down. So it's not gonna like auto kill you. It also tells you when you're about to get grabbed. So maybe if you only want to use it in the beginning, right? It'll kind of give you some cues. You'll start learning like, hey, whenever I enter a big room, I seem to get grabbed. Because what you should be doing, right, is when you get into a new room, big opening or whatever. You're typically always looking eye level, because you play first-person shooters. I remember when I was playing Counter-Strike, that was always like the advice, is like you should just keep your crosshair basically at head level. But in this game, when you get into like a new room, what you really want to do is actually look up. You want to look up at the ceiling, and you want to see if there's any of those cave. Oh man, I don't know what they call them. It's the grabbers that are up on the top of the ceiling. That's what you want to look out for. So technically, you don't need this if you're being very proactive. But sometimes, man, you're getting swarmed. You're in the heat of the moment, and something grabs you, and you're really gonna wish that you had this. And it's not. It's the guys on the ceiling that can grab you. There's actually like this like flying bug thing that can grab you, and then there's like this sand shark. I don't know if that's actually what they're called, but those can grab you. And man, they are a pain in the butt. They will grab you and drag you across, and then like repetitively throw you. So it's like very jarring, right? And sometimes, if they do it right, they will throw you like off a cliff, right? Ooh, that's no good. Luckily, if you're playing engineer, you can always just use the platform gun to break a fall. But that doesn't work out for everybody. And I don't know, maybe you're out of platforms, right? Or maybe you just don't switch to it fast enough. So if you got grabbed by one of those, you could use this, and it kills them, and it helps the team too, right? Because now they're not going to get grabbed. So I love this. I think this and Dash these are my go-tos when I'm playing engineer. All right, what else? So let's get into the guns. Let's talk about guns. You get a variety of choices here. The shotgun, the submachine gun, and this is the new toy that the engineer gets. I have not played around with this very much. I'm gonna link a video in the description where someone says that they've played with it for 100 hours, and that's great. Like when someone does that primary research, when someone's putting in the work, like I want to promote that. I want people to know about that. So I'm gonna go ahead and link that, and I'm pretty sure I'm gonna link another YouTuber that I really like, Legionless. Originally, I was watching all his guides, and he does it all. He does it all. He's so good at the game, and just gives great information. So, and I think he's also he's in love with this gun a little bit. My problem with this gun is I have not figured out how to conserve ammo properly. I feel like I just run out like incredibly quick. I don't know. And then with this gun, I don't have anything negative to say about it. I just never fell in love with it. I'm not saying that it can't be good. I think right now the flavor is the smart rifle. I think a lot of people are kind of digging this thing. But yeah, I don't know. I just never got into the. I got all the overclocks for it, and obviously I haven't tried everything though. So like maybe there is something that would work better for me. But yeah, I just I don't know, man. I couldn't get into it. I fell in love with the shotgun, and it's kind of funny because like normally I don't like shotguns that much in shooters. I just typically don't like AK-47, AR-15, your rifles. That's typically like my speed. But now, like in this game, like the shotguns, they sing to me. I love them. And this one in particular, I feel like doesn't impress a lot of people in the community. I'm not sure why, because this thing is super reliable. It does great damage. The overclock that I use for it, though, I don't know where this ranks in the community consensus. This is just what works best for me, and once I got this one, I've never abandoned it. Like this is just what I've always used. It just gives you a ridiculous amount of ammo. A ridiculous amount of ammo. Look at that. 168. You just never run out. Never run out. It's incredible. And the less recoil, I guess someone could argue like, well, you could just play better. You don't really need mods or passives or anything like that to lower your recoil. But what this ends up doing, though, is it, in a way, increases the range at which you can pull off kills with this gun. So if I told everyone that you can do mid-range with a shotgun, they're going to say I'm crazy. But I'm not, man. Like, you can actually get some mid-range kills with this, and that's incredible. So you almost like, in a sense, almost in a way, you almost like double its range by lowering its recoil. Not that I recommend that you go, crazy with it, trying to shoot all mid-range, but if there was something that was like flying off in the distance or whatever, something that was kind of weak and it was mid-range, yeah, you pull the trigger, dude. Like, you're gonna get it. This is, and plus you have so much ammo, right? So like, I'm only a couple pellets reach something that's a little farther away. You got plenty of ammo. And it also increases the magazine capacity. So 14, right? Good gracious. That's just so much for a shotgun. Isn't that incredible? Like, the Scout one is just, you 2 pumps. You're done. This is 14. Ugh. I love this. I just think this is so reliable. The only thing I will say about it, because like this, this mini shells, it removes the stun chance, and yes, it does lower the damage. And I know you're looking at that damage number at 6, and you're thinking like, ooh, geez, that's not very good. But 10 with 10 pellets, the 6 damage, and then you get so much magazines, like or the size, like you just get so many bullets that you can shoot. Um, Again, I have a Has 5 video that I did as engineer with this build. If I wasn't a scrub, I wouldn't have died at the end. I ended up completing it, but I got through the meat of that no problem using this gun. I really recommend this. I think it's great if you're new, too, because it's such it's so forgiving with all that ammo, and the less recoil makes it easier to shoot. Especially if you're starting off, this is perfect. But you can definitely do Has 5s with this. I can't stress it enough. I don't know if I'm going to talk about like all the individual mods. I feel like this is a little. I said it in another video. One of the greatest things about this game is the build diversity. And especially if you play on lower hazard levels. So if you're playing 3s and 4s, guys, you really cannot go wrong. Like, this is just my opinion, right? This is what I think is good, and I've proven that this works even at the highest difficulty, unmodded. But feel free to do what you want. I'm gonna link the build in the description. So if I don't cover everything in detail here, you can just look at that, copy paste more or less, and then do what you want to do. I might switch this at one point. I definitely think you should absolutely have more pellets. I mean, this is just really going to increase your damage big time. But other than that, man, like, you just kind of do what you want. I think give this overclock a whirl. Like, I really doubt that the internet says this is the best thing, but I promise you, just try it. Like, you'll see why. You'll see why. It's so good. It's so reliable. So easy to use. So much ammo. Oh, man. I just never worry about having to get a resupply, ever. Like, that stress. Like, sometimes, like, when I'm playing Scout, and you'll see that, like, again and again and again, they'll tell you, like, Scout's not good at clearing swarms. If you're a Scout, you shouldn't be trying to kill stuff, but, sometimes you're playing with some greenbeards, right? With some new folks, and or, like, some people need help, and I'm just, like, always, like, a little pressured, right? And not when I'm playing engineer, not when I'm using this setup. Like, I just never worry about it, ever, ever, ever. So this is what I recommend. Yeah. Next, so let's talk about, oh man. So I originally was using this. I think you have to when you first start playing. This is just like your kind of standard grenade launcher, right? What else can you say about that, right? I mean, you shoot like this big blast. It's fun to shoot, and if you're kind of long range, you just you need to aim a little bit higher because it starts to like dip the farther it goes in distance. I love this thing. I think it's really cool, but I had someone actually turn me on to the breach cutter, and I've just never looked back. Yeah, see that beam DPS? 800. 800. Yeah, that's a huge number. It's not just a big number. You can feel the impact. This gun, they might as well just call this like the screen deleter, because that's exactly what it does. I've been in situations where, like I'm doing like a drill dozer mission, and you like breach cutter, you blast through like a wall or whatever into a new room, and it's like that event with like the snake guys that come up, and it people may not have been expecting it, and it obliterates your team. And I just feel like I can just be like this hero and just cut through anything with this. I can solo detonators easily can solo detonators on 3s and 4s. So whatever the monster is, it's a pushover with this gun. This gun is so good. Wow, is this gun good? I can't emphasize how great that damage is. This, like, the shining thing about the engineer, besides its versatility, is that he has probably the best burst in the game. His burst is insane. His burst is next level. Man, it's just wow. Um, you know, this gun you can really customize like just the bananas out of it. Like you can just go crazy with how different I can make it versus how you would make it. The overclocks really change how it works. Um, I don't necessarily know what the consensus is for this. I haven't like there's a part of me that wanted to go look at a whole bunch of engineering guides and then kind of like regurgitate what other people think. But I'm not like trying to get views. I'm just trying to show you guys what works for me and what I think is personally easiest. So I can't really speak on behalf of all these other overclocks. They very much change how the gun plays. I mean, drastically different. Some of these, release the fire button to reverse the projectile's movement. That's crazy. Um, the rolling projectile, release fire button to lock in the position. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this really changes how this gun functions. What I did, though, I just went for the easiest thing. You get a little bit of damage boost, and the beam itself will basically travel farther because it lasts longer. So it's good for distance. Um, sometimes you get like some lucky kills because of the way, because of this overclock that I'm using. Like you shoot it down a hallway, and then monsters basically like like run into it. I think this is so nice. So like if I'm doing like a 4, let's say, and I'm coming up on a Praetorian, I think 2 basically guarantees that you're gonna kill that thing, right? Like assuming you shoot it through its face and it hits its butt, or you shoot it at its butt. 2, right? And that is great. And your magazine size with this setup is 6, so something like a detonator, right? I'll just blast all 6. It's gone. What are those? Oh, those other big guys are called oppressors. I don't know if this is necessarily the engineer's role. At least when I'm playing it, I feel like it is. But if there's not a scout to help me like single target like a big nasty like an oppressor, I feel like it's the engineer's job. And man, the job is easy with the breach cutter. I can wreck an oppressor so fast. Some people will say that the breach cutter is hard to shoot with or hard to aim or no, it's not. Maybe depending on which setup. Like maybe I've made this so easy. That's why it's not hard. But the fact that it can travel through an enemy is incredible. Those dreadnoughts, right? Like the boss guys that you can kill. You could shoot it at its face and then it hits the back end. Perfect. There's that one dreadnought where he like spawns, like sentinels. I think that's what they're called, like little mini dreadnoughts. And then you get to the stage where he's got like, on the sides and I think on top of them, you got to hit like those weak points or whatever so that you can start taking away his health. Anyways, you shoot this breach cutter. I think you can hit 2 or more at once. Beautiful. Really, oh man, this thing is just so great. The only thing that I think is like what are the drawbacks of this thing? Yeah, depending on how you set it up, the beam itself is pretty slow moving. So you gotta kind of calculate when and where to shoot it, for sure. If it's something like a Praetorian, I mean, you can just get like basically melee and pump 2 into it and it's gone. So really no aim required. The other thing that I would caution you on with this gun is, you can wreck your teammates, so you want to be careful. Like sometimes, it'll be 4 of you or 3 of you surrounding an oppressor or a dreadnought. This is a big one, right? And you go to shoot these things and you literally melt one of your teammates because he was directly on the other side. I mean, you can make the argument that maybe he should have moved and or he should have expected that an engineer was going to do this, but things happen, man. Maybe he can't see what you're doing, and then pink beams basically just come, through the boss, and it gets them. So you want to try to be careful, and it's definitely not limited to just killing the big nasties. When you're playing Has 5, those swarms, especially if you're kind of using my setup with this gun, Yeah, as much as I love this gun, it's not the best way. I always say wave, and I think it's swarm. It's not the best swarm killer. Like a big group, it's pretty solid. I love this, and I will defend using this gun. And I will argue anybody. But I have to admit it. Its shortcoming is that it's not. There are other options that are better at killing swarms than this. So sometimes I need to supplement its kind of not super awesomey swarm killing ability with the breach cutter. But because this thing gets so much ammo, right? I mean, I think 12 for such a heavy hitting weapon is plenty. So sometimes I use this for swarms, right? If you're like on a really like level plane, and they've kind of lined up for you. I can't even tell you like what the max count of kills potentially could be, but like you could mess up literally an entire group with just one shot. Yeah, this thing is incredible. Breach cutter. I don't know what like if you disagree with using the shotgun, or you think something's better, and I'm sure that this is I'm sure these are fine and maybe even better. Regardless of what you're using, regardless of what your main thing is, I think the breach cutter is just like your go-to. I don't think this is bad. It's not, but I just think it's hard to argue that this is. I think there's a lot less situations where this is going to be better than the breach cutter. So if you take away anything from this, you're new, invest in this, man. And I think this is the overclock to get. It just makes it incredibly easy to shoot and effective. Yeah, I love this gun. Man, it's so good. Alright, pickaxe. Power attack affects a larger area. Yeah, this is good too, though. I think I use that on the scout quite a bit, the lowered cooldown. I don't think there's necessarily like a wrong choice here. Again, this game, man, like the build diversity is insane, and if you're doing 3s and 4s, it really doesn't matter what you pick. But like this is nice, but this is good too. What else? I mentioned this in another video. Please tell me if you notice a difference between medium intensity flare and a high intensity. I mean, like right here, right? It kind of looks like it's different. It looks like that green is extra green. But when I'm playing, though, I don't really notice a difference. Let me know if you see something. All right, so turrets. Let's talk about the turrets. This is my personal recommendation, especially if you're new. If someone wants to fight me in the comments, cool, let's do it. Let's be constructive. I think the single turret is the best. I think it's the most optimal. And I think it's the easiest to use, and I think it really cuts down on the busy time. Like when I was first playing, I couldn't even imagine trying to do both. And even with the amount of hours that I've pumped into this game, Steam I think says I'm at 570 hours. I don't know if that's all like me playing, some of that's just kind of sitting in the hub or whatever. But nah, like I am not a fan of the double turrets. It's just like you spend so much time just setting them bad boys up, and it's always confusing to me like which one I've recalled. Ugh, just the one. I think the one is the way to go. And these are the things that I use. So like takes less time to build a sentry. I sometimes feel like some of these mods are I don't know, maybe this criticism you can actually use against me for like my reasonings on the guns, but some of these like take less time or lower recoil kind of mods are taking like difficulty out of the game and not necessarily giving you like a real benefit. Oh man, don't fry me alive for saying that. I know that because like I have that less recoil on this. I didn't really have a choice. Really, what I like about this is just the magazine and ammo capacity. But so like something like this, I don't think is very good. Now, clearly, you saw that I bought it at one point because when I first started playing, I was just not happy about the maintenance of this class. But I started getting like the rhythm right. I started figuring out like like when was a good time. Like when you enter a new room, it's probably a good time to put down a turret. Obviously, if you get that warning, you know that a swarm is incoming, good time to hunker down and plant this thing. Um, and when you're doing like that drill dozer mission, as soon as that drill dozer starts like boring a tunnel, right? Uh, you just want to run basically to the front of the. It's moving, so I know you gotta keep moving with it, but you want to like run up to the side of the drill and then just plant this thing, because as soon as it basically starts making that tunnel, it's guaranteed that swarms are going to come. So you start learning like when are the good times to drop this thing, and it becomes less. It doesn't feel like maintenance. It doesn't feel busy. Like it just it feels good, because you're going to get a lot of opportunities where there's no bugs, and you're going to get situations where like you're up high or whatever, and you can use your platforms to build kind of like these mounted turrets, or however you want to phrase it. But I really recommend the one. It's easier to use, and I think it might actually be better. You would think the thing that's more work would be better, but I don't think that the amount of work that and when I say work, reloading these turrets and building them, if you're lucky, teammates will help you build them, but that's pretty far in between. They just think that's your job. So just building one and worrying about one is just way easier. Definitely recommend getting more ammo. That's going to be good versus the nasties. I don't know how this thing prioritizes its aim. I've never known. I don't know if it automatically goes for weak points or not, but I think this is just going to make it really consistent. And the last one I think is probably the most important. If you go with this is the one that makes it like 360 degrees, right? Upgraded sensors increase the effective range and target acquisition speed, and are synchronized with your laser pointer prior to... Okay, well that's cute. I think this is the mod that does... this one almost sets up like... it basically gives you like an angle, or like a spread. So... it's not like the worst idea to kind of like put this up against a wall, because they can't turn around and hit anything behind it, and then you're going to give it like the biggest field of view. So it's it's a little harder, I guess, or a little bit more difficult than this one, because this one will just basically shoot anywhere, whereas this is a little limited as to where it will shoot. But the thing is, though, like, that damage, right? You see, like, the difference in the damage? I know, like, that's not, like, a huge number, but it's, like, boo, 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 boo. And just think about, like, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. Like, that's... Yeah, man. I think this is the one you want. Maybe when you first start, that's gonna, this Hawkeye one is gonna be better for you. It's gonna be easier. You can just... you just put it in the middle of the room and not have to worry about... it's special prime positioning, whereas like this, you need to kind of choose a better spot of where to put it. I really recommend it though. Like, the payoff is extremely good, so I would say get this and get the single. That's my big recommendation. All right, platform gun. Oh man, I think of all like the special abilities that everybody gets, I think the platform gun is my favorite. Like if I could be a scout with like the platform gun and the grapple, I mean that would be like ridiculous. That would be so great. The platform gun has so many uses. I think the one that first comes to mind is that it can break your fall. So if you're and falling in this game, it's gonna happen to you. I think even the most seasoned players fall sometimes. As you're falling, depending on how, I say depending on how you mod it, but I think it's just comes with it. No, see? Yeah, no, you had to get it. Shock absorbing compound reduces fall damage. So as long as you have this, like you're good to go. Basically, if you land on a platform versus just landing on the ground, you will take less damage or no damage at all. I can't tell you what the exact measurement is for like when do you take damage? If like how far do you have to fall to take damage, even if you land on a platform? I'm not sure, but it's got to be like, I don't know, like at least twice as much as so like if you fell and you would take, I don't know, 100 damage. I think you could fall like twice as far uh, and land on a platform and live. Um, I think very rarely have I ever done a platform and I still died when I landed on it. Like, so rare. Like, it has to be like wicked high up. So I'm gonna say like 90+% of the time, if you shoot a platform right before you're about to land from like some silly fall, you're gonna live. It's actually, it's the platform gun is the reason why I don't use hover boots. It can be a little hard. Man, how do you just like undo that? There you go. It can be a little hard, like when you first start playing, to switch to this and do it, but you know you'll get it, and it'll just become, you know, the muscle memory will come, and you'll be able to. Sometimes, you know what's really cool? It's like when you see somebody else fall and you catch them with a platform. That is one of the greatest feelings ever. Oh man, is that cool? You know, you really got to be paying attention. But I've done it a couple times, and like, man, it just makes me love the platform gun. So besides, you know, uh, breaking falls, and I've talked about that for too long now. I think what its like intended use is, it's for making bridges or bridging gaps. You know, I guess that's like the most obvious thing. You know, some holes or whatever are just wicked big. You know, you get almost, you know, depending on the maps, right? Like you can get like these, like, I'll call them mountain ranges. Like they're enormous, and having this to get across is great. Uh, if you're playing those fire maps where the ground actually breaks apart, man, if you fall down one of those, if they're deep enough, like that's really gonna hurt. And then because it's all fire, it's gonna tear you up. Um, so what's cool, you can actually plug up those holes with this gun. So like it's great for the team, it's great for you. Um, I know sometimes with like those dreadnought missions, right? The room that the dreadnought is in may not be ideal, like it's too small, and very often people will want to lure the dreadnought back to where, you know, you first came in at, like where the drop pod first came in, and the drop pod makes like a little divot or whatever, like a little, you know, circular hole, and if everyone wants to bring the dreadnoughts back into that first room, you can just plug that up, right? You can just make that a nice flat surface, so that's great. Um, if there's, you know, a resource node that's up high, you can kind of make like a little, like you can make steps. I think I've used the word ladder before, but steps would probably be more appropriate. You can make steps to go up. You can make steps, you know, just to get up anything really. What else can you do with this thing? The uses are really, like, I'm probably not going to name them all. Maybe someone in the comments will name something that I didn't name. When you're doing those salvage missions, right? And you're building that, like, I call it the radio tower. I don't know what the heck it's called, but you get to that point where, you know, you repair that thing, and then you get like the green area, and you know the bugs try to come into it. You can make like these kind of like makeshift bunkers. It's very common that above that radio thing that you repair, you'll do like you'll make like a roof, right? You'll make like this roof, because one of the things that's cool, right, is do they actually say it? Enemies will avoid walking on the plat, right, whenever possible. So it's not like they treat the platforms like lava, but if they have a path with platforms and then right next to it is a path with no platforms, they will take the path with no platforms. So what this roof does is it basically forces the bugs to go around it. So you can more or less funnel, you know, in a way, or divert where the bugs are coming from. So it just won't just be like this crazy mess of bugs in your face. You can kind of, you know, they're going to have to go down and around to the left, or they're going to have to go down and around to the right. So yeah, you can do cool stuff like that. Um, Sometimes, I think I've kind of mentioned already with like that fire example, like its ability to plug up holes is pretty clutch sometimes. You know, you do like a resupply into a room, and you're about to get swarmed, well, sometimes bugs will come out of that hole where the resupply came out of, and you can just, with one plat, plug that up nice and quick. Man, what else can you do with this thing? You can make, like, pillars, right? You can make pillars. You can stack them up high, and you can basically run around them, right? Remember WoW Arenas? I don't know if I'm trying not to curse, so I don't know if like saying humping is like a bad word, but pillar humping was like a thing in that game, and you can absolutely do that. You can hug. How about that? You can hug the pillars for protection. That works good on the Dreadnought maps too. It really does. It's fantastic. Like I know that sometimes I have a problem dodging those fireball things that some of the Dreadnoughts can shoot at you, and having these kind of makeshift pillars is good. You'll see in like a lot of games when you're playing engineer, people will actually remove every pillar that's like especially like for Dreadnoughts, in whatever room you're deciding to fight them in. They'll remove every pillar so that their turret, right, can get, is more field of view, like more chance to shoot. But you could always just put your turret on top of this platform that you make, or you can just strategically put it, like if you're using the that turret mod that I use, where it's never going to be able to shoot behind it. You could always put the pillar behind the thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, whatever you got to do. That's just something neat that you can do with that. Man, I feel like there's way more that I am not mentioning that you can do. I know something that I try to do sometimes, especially like on the higher difficulties. It doesn't always work out. Sometimes I panic and I kind of abandon it. But you can make, like, let's just say it's like a circular room, right? On one half, you can make a quote bridge, right? I'll just call it like 3 platforms in length, and then on the other side, you can do like another one that's 3 platforms in length, and you actually purposely do not connect them, but you make it so that that distance is short enough so that you could jump. So you could, a swarm of bugs comes at you, and then you go up that 3 platforms, right? And then they start coming up because there's no other path for them to take, so they will touch it. Well, now you just jump across to the other side, and now they got to go back down, come around, and then come up your other one. And as they're coming up the other one, then you jump back to the first one. You know what I'm saying? So like you can like jump back and forth between them. So that's kind of like a little combat trick right there. I don't know, guys. There's a lot. There's just a lot of uses for this thing. It's just incredible, and everyone can use them. Oh, how about this one, right? There's an event, in-game event. This big, like, I don't know the names of these things. I'm terrible. This, like, big pillar spawns, and it has, like, 3 sections, and you gotta, like, stand on these other... I'm gonna use the word platform because my vocabulary is so weak, but they have kind of in the ground embedded those platforms, and if you stand on it long enough, it basically, like, unlocks one of those 3 things in that cylindrical... You know the event I'm talking about, right? And what you can do is actually you can shoot your platform on top of those platforms, and the bottom one, right? It's just like a go-to strategy for that event, that you always kill the bottom one first, and because it's nasty, right? It basically kind of like the breach cutter, right? It shoots those beams at you, and they have wrecked groups. I have failed that event many times. And what's great about this is that you can shoot one, stand on top of it, and you'll still get credit for like unlocking it, that thing or whatever, but the beams won't hit you now. So that is cool. Again, there's probably like a million uses that I have not named, but I hope that I've at least named enough to get the point across that this thing is super versatile. Super versatile. I really like this. Like, abuse this if you're playing engineer. Abuse this. Whew. Alright. Grenades. I hate this grenade. I'm never going to unlock it. I'm not going to... Now, my finger is nowhere near the mouse right now because I don't even want to click on it. This is that... it's like a mine. You'll see this when you play with other people. It kind of makes like that yellow circle. The reason why I don't like it, and it's not because it's not good. It is good. It's great at what it does. But that is a team killer. Like it's like Driller Junior. I really don't like them. I don't I'm not going to complain when other people use them, but it's just like another thing that I have to worry about. And if people are being particularly sloppy with these, which generally happens, it ends up hurting me, just as much, and in some cases more than the bugs. So I would say if you use these, please be careful with these. Like if you're doing a salvage mission and you get swarmed, they have to repair those two things, and then like I call them waves, and the waves come in. Um, oh, please, just like don't put them in that green area. Like put them outside. At least do that. Like when people put them inside, like it's just guaranteeing that like it's gonna hurt us. And the higher difficulty that you do, the more detrimental it can be to the team. So I think the risk versus reward is a little too high for me personally. I'm not again though. I want to say that they are good. Like yes, they are good, and if used properly, can be very effective. But you will not see me ever playing with these. The next one, Plasma Burster. Yeah, I've used this like a little bit. I really can't say much about them. I just think that they're unimpressive. I know that's my opinion. I'm sorry. I'm not. Yeah, that's all I can say. I think there's a better option. Yeah, I think there's a way cooler option, and I think there's a way more unique option. Something that really adds some flavor to your gameplay, and that's really going to help the team. And that's the lure. I call it like the little taunting guy. You basically throw this beacon. I don't know what you call it. What do they call it? This laser utility refraction emitter. Oh wow, that is a mouthful. You basically throw like this little robot guy, and he dances or whatever. It's kind of fun. And bugs are attracted to it, so they're taunted, right? That's kind of like an MMO term. He says yoo-hoo, and all the bugs come to him. Doesn't last that long. I think it's only like 20 seconds, and it gets beaten up pretty quick. Like how much HP does it have, or how many hits can it take? I can't answer that question. It's not a ton, but like on the lower difficulties, it's gonna feel like pretty tanky, and on the higher difficulties, it's gonna get obliterated. But it's gonna save you. It's gonna save you. Even if it only pulls a group away for 2 seconds, that's 2 seconds that you could reload. That's 2 seconds that you could reposition yourself. That's 2 seconds that you can shoot. And I think it's longer than 2 seconds. It's pretty great. My only problem with this, and this is my personal problem, is I don't use them enough. They are really good, man. They are really good. I don't think it makes all of the big bugs go after it. Like dreadnoughts, I'm pretty sure absolutely ignore it. I want to say Praetorians go for it. As long as I've played, you'd think I'd be able to answer that question, but I don't know the answer to that question, because when I see a Praetorian, it gets blasted by the breach cutter. So like I don't even need to think about what's gonna happen. So this is typically, I use this for like a horde of grunts. Another good use for this, right? So when you go to res somebody, very often the bugs are like they just want to eat their body or whatever, like just endlessly. I don't know, it's weird. So if you angle yourself correctly, you basically should never worry about getting hit while you're resing somebody. But if they've been dead long enough, or like they died by a big enough group, when you go over there to res, like they're gonna tear you up. So what you can do is actually throw one of these, and it'll pull some of the guys off their body, or it'll at least guarantee that if more come, they'll go to that. So this way you can cleanly res somebody. So it's great for combat. It's great for resing. It's just fantastic, and it's the flavor, right? It's fun that there is something like this in this game. Yeah, it's super great. I love it, and I really recommend it. All right, what's last? The armor. I think I've basically done the same armor for everybody. get the minerals, man. Mining is like 50% of this game. Even if you're not the scout, the more you can carry, the better. Less trips you're making. It's just nice. I, I, I think someone thought this was kind of funny how I compared these two. Basically, man, I really need some water, and I don't have any. This is killing me. Um, you only get 5 shields from this, so you can only take 5 more damage. And this, you can take 20 more. But, hey, shields is the first thing that gets hit, so why would I need this, over the shields? Fall damage is the thing that comes to mind first. If you're falling really far down, you're going to have a higher chance of survival if you're rocking this. Larger monsters like dreadnoughts, that 5 health or shield is really nothing. And I know 20 is really not either, but there's been plenty of situation where I lived because, and I live with like very little, and I think it was because of this. Swarmers are gonna shred through your shields, and you're gonna wish that you had the more health. And then lastly, there's some of the missions you do can have like these kind of added hazard bonuses or whatever, and one of them is no shields. So that's no good at that point. Like and this is the clear winner. I guess maybe you could make like a second build, but I really think that this is just like the generic, all-arounder go-to thing that you want. You get no choice there. I've talked about these two. I don't think there's a wrong choice, honestly. This isn't a wrong choice either. I feel like you can make almost no wrong choices in this game. But this one I feel is the most consistent. So like when they do break through your shields, and this is another reason not to use this, right? Because it almost encourages more shield breaks by having less shields. It damages all the enemies in the area, and this can actually save you, right? So like swarmers, right? You rip through your shields, and now you shoot out damage, and it can potentially kill them so that you don't die. This one is basically a chance to stun when you lose your shields, and then this. I think the example I used before was if you're doing a has 5. Or maybe you're doing one of those like crazy hard unmodded difficulties. This could be good. I think you technically are immune to damage for 3 seconds or something like that when you're rezzed, but 3 seconds can go by pretty quick, and if you haven't cleared whatever the heck was killing you and or the person that just rezzed you, yeah, you can just go down like immediately. So, this potentially could be good, buys you some more time. So yeah, I don't think I talked nearly as long as I did for this one as I did the scout. I'm also doing this video a little bit later, and I'm a little bit more tired. So I think I just about covered everything, right? This shotgun is just it's super reliable, and the amount of ammo that you get is just man, it's just a ton with this overclock that I'm using. At least maybe this is like more beginner friendly because of how easy it makes it, and just worry free it also makes it. But nah, man, I can kill some bugs with this thing. Like yeah, man, I like it. It can dole out some hurt. Like there's no doubt about it. It's awesome. Maybe not the greatest killing gun ever. It's not like the Gunner's thunder cannon, right? But it's nice. I really like it, and it's fun to shoot too. Like it's a cool gun. Breach cutter, it is amazing gun. I really can see little argument to using this. Not that this is bad, and if you have more fun playing with this, by all means, please. Like fun should be the highest thing, right? So many of these games now, it's always like what's most optimal, and like yeah, I get why that's so important. But this is also fun, alright? This is really fun to shoot too. There's something about like the speed at which the beam moves, and then just watching like a line of bugs just go blah 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 blah. Oh, it's cool. And it's so not only is it probably more optimal, it's super cool. So yeah, I think that just about covers it. I don't know what else to do for videos. I feel like after Scout, like none of these guides are going to be as strong, or like I'm not going to feel as passionate about some of these because like I think Scout maybe Engineer is my second, but if there's something that you guys want me to do, like I do plan on doing the Driller and I do plan on doing the Gunner, kind of like my build guides. And I'm gonna link some things in the description for you. So if this is like too much blah blah blah, or you just think this is like some jank information, I'm gonna have some links for you that will have some prime real estate in terms of information for you. So, anyways, I hope this helped. I really appreciate like all the positivity that I'm getting on these videos. It's super cool. It's super nice. This is why I'm doing it. I don't ask for likes or subs or any of that stuff. I don't want them. You keep them to yourself. Nah, but if you want to do them, that's great. But yeah, I've watched so many guides over, like, I've been playing video games for like, I don't know, like 25, 30 years now, and I've always been like a lurker, and I just kind of, someone convinced me that maybe it's time for me to give back, and I sincerely hope that this helps somebody, and I want to make some connections, and yeah, that's what I'm trying to do, fellas. So, and ladies, hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.